Chapter 1. A new beginning. Margaret sat in her quiet home, staring at the empty chair across from her. Life after retirement had been lonelier than she expected. She had lost her husband 2 years ago, and her days were now filled with books, tea, and the occasional call from her children. But something was missing. She longed for laughter, adventure, and a sense of belonging. One day, while walking through the park, she noticed a flyer pinned to a community board, the Golden Years Club, where every day is an adventure. Curious, she took the flyer home, staring at it over dinner. Could this be the change she needed? That night, she lay in bed, thinking about all the years she had spent caring for others, her husband, her children, even her colleagues at the library where she had worked. She had always been the dependable one, the one who made sure everyone was happy. But now, who was looking after her happiness? She drifted to sleep with the thought lingering in her mind. Chapter 2. Stepping out of comfort. The next morning, Margaret woke up with an unusual sense of excitement. She had spent too long in her routine, and now it was time for something new. With hesitant steps, she arrived at the community center that afternoon. A group of seniors chatted around a long table, their faces lit with excitement. A tall, charismatic man in his 70s welcomed her. "You must be Margaret. I'm George, the club's organizer. Welcome to the Golden Years Club." The room buzzed with energy. There was Helen, a retired artist with a passion for storytelling, Thomas, a former pilot who always had a thrilling tale to share, and Ruth, who was rediscovering her love for baking. Each person carried a lifetime of experiences, and Margaret soon realized she wasn't alone in her search for purpose. "So, what brought you here?" Helen asked kindly, handing Margaret a cup of tea. Margaret hesitated. "I suppose I was tired of being alone. I wanted to meet people who understand." Helen nodded. "You've come to the right place. We all felt the same at some point. But this club? It changes everything." Chapter 3. The First Adventure. The club organized weekly outings, small adventures designed to bring excitement back into their lives. Their first trip was to a nearby beach town, a place Margaret had visited with her husband years ago. At first, she felt nervous, but as she walked along the shore with her new friends, she felt something she hadn't in a long time: joy. That evening, around a bonfire, they shared stories of their youth. Margaret spoke about the love of her life, how they had dreamed of traveling but never had the chance. George, sensing her wistfulness, smiled and said, "Well, my dear, it's never too late. Let's make that dream happen." Margaret looked at him, surprised. "But I wouldn't even know where to begin." "You begin by saying yes," George said with a wink. Chapter 4. Finding a new purpose. Over the months, Margaret became an active part of the Golden Years Club. They volunteered at shelters, learned new skills, and even took a painting class together. The laughter returned to her days, and the loneliness faded. She started a book club within the group, rediscovering her love for literature and storytelling. One day, during a book club meeting, Ruth hesitantly shared, "I've always wanted to write a book, but I never thought I had the time or talent." Margaret smiled. "Then let's write it together. We all have stories worth telling." That simple suggestion turned into a passion project for the group. Every week, they gathered to write their memoirs, fiction, or poetry. Margaret, once feeling purposeless, now had something to wake up for. Chapter 5. The grand journey. On Margaret's 70th birthday, the club surprised her with a special gift: a train ticket to Paris. It was the trip she and her husband had always dreamed of. Overwhelmed with emotion, she looked at her friends, now her family, and knew she had found her place in the world again. "You don't have to go alone, you know," George said softly. "I hear Paris is even better with good company." Margaret chuckled. "Are you inviting yourself, George?" He grinned. "Would you say no?" She thought about it. A year ago, she would have been too scared to say yes. But now she knew better. I'd be honored. As she boarded the train with George and her new lifelong companions, she whispered to herself, "The golden years truly are golden." Chapter 6. The legacy of friendship. The Golden Years Club continued to grow, welcoming more seniors searching for connection and adventure. Margaret, now one of its most cherished members, often reminded newcomers of a simple truth: happiness isn't behind us. It's all around us, waiting to be embraced. One evening, as she sat with Helen and Ruth, they reflected on how much their lives had changed. "Imagine if we had never taken that first step," Helen mused. "Imagine how many more people we can help take theirs," Margaret added. And so, the club expanded. They hosted workshops for newly retired individuals, helping them find new hobbies and friendships. They organized retreats, dance nights, and even started a YouTube channel to share their adventures. Margaret, once lost in loneliness, had become a beacon of hope for others, and in that she had found her true calling. Final thought: the journey never truly ends. It simply takes new turns. What will your next adventure be? If you enjoyed the story, consider sharing it with someone who might need a reminder that it's never too late for new beginnings.